There we go. I do believe we are live and streaming. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Best Under 5 Season 2. We're starting our second season. As a reminder, we do every 10 episodes as a season. And so this is Season 2, Episode 1. As a reminder, the champion of last season was Jaws 3. We're going to find out if anything from this season can dethrone it. But hey, it's Best Under 5 and it's 1986 and it's Assassin. But let's meet some folks. I'm, of course, Jarrod, the yard sale artist. I'm joined by my usual co-host, is Black Belt Chris. Welcome back, Chris.
Thank you, Jarrod.
Chris is recording or streaming from an undisclosed location, and hopefully his signal seems to be pretty good. But
hopefully the Wi-Fi holds out here.
Yeah, just in case it does go bad, we've got a backup host. And it is a good friend of the LONGBOX CRUSADE, a good friend of mine for a really long time now. It is Ezra Gallo. Welcome to the show, Ezra.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Man, it is going to be good times as we talk about Assassin from 1986. But before I get too deep into it, I want you guys to enjoy the live stream today, the Best Under 5. But when it's done, and you're like, man, I wish I had something else to listen to, I'm going to go ahead and recommend Q1065.com. Q1065.com has a great mix of 80s and 90s. We have recently partnered with them. They're featuring us on their website, and we're gonna pump them up likewise. And you know what? It's an easy pump for me because I legitimately love Q1065.com. And don't go there now. Go there after the show. All right, guys, let's get into it with beginning of our second season here with Assassin from 1986. I think the best thing to do at the front of the show is like we often do. Let's talk about, how we found it. Were you familiar with it before I brought it up for discussion and the like? Chris, you've done this before. How did you find Assassin, Chris?
Through you. You had mentioned it. I think after a podcast, one of our podcasts that we did, maybe 4 months ago, and I think I went out later that week and watched it for the first go through, and I'm like, yeah, this is actually pretty good. And then I did some digging, and I was like, oh wait, this is a made-for-TV movie. That explains a lot.
Indeed, sir, indeed. So, yeah, ever since we've started the show, Best Under 5, and by the way, I always forget to mention this up front, so I'm going to remember now. Assassin currently has a 4.8 on IMDB. I'm on the lookout for movies that I kind of enjoy, as opposed to Chris over there, who finds movies to torture me with from time to time. But yeah, we're looking at Assassin 86. Ezra, were you familiar with this before we talked about it for the show?
I was not familiar with it at all. I'd never heard of it, or well, I should say I don't remember it, but I do after discovering that it was a made-for-TV movie. It's entirely possible that I saw this when I was a kid, because made-for-TV movies were bread and butter back then. But
weren't they?
But and the thing that made me realize it was a made-for-TV, because I didn't know anything going in. I had only seen the poster that's on the screen, so that's all that I knew about it. But it was when I saw the credits, the opening credits, and I was like, hey, that looks like Remington Steele's credits. And then I was like, what is going on? I was like, is this a made-for-TV movie? That is how I figured out that it was a made-for-TV movie.
Yes, folks, it is a made-for-TV movie. I read somewhere, and this may go back to Chris because he usually does the deeper dive on things like that, but I read somewhere, I think it might have been even made in Canada.
I did not find anything about that. I did find out that Harold Ramis was attached to this as a producer.
Oh, wow.
Blew my mind. Wow. And after seeing the final product, he asked that his name be removed.
Oh, Harold.
Like, really? I'm like, come on, man. It wasn't great, but I mean, come on.
Yeah. Well,
and I guess this time period he is Ghostbusters.
That's true. He wasn't
and Stripes Harold Ramis.
Yeah, he's somebody. Yeah.
He was at the top of his game.
Certainly.
I also saw that my other random thing is that apparently in this, when I was looking at finding out that it's a made-for-TV movie, apparently Robert Conrad made like 8 made-for-TV movies in a 10-year span or something like that right around here. Yeah. He was TV movie gold at this point in time.
I think that was his bread and butter after his long stint on the Wild Wild West.
Yeah.
Jim West, Desperado.
I kind of knew him from the Wild Wild West and from, bizarrely enough, Jingle All the Way, for those of you.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
who partake. I do want to welcome Matt Passo to the chat. He almost always shows up to these, and he's even suggested a few films for this. So thanks for being here, Matt. And we got the cover up Ezra. I wonder if I can move Ezra to this. I can't move you over. But
Oh, no.
every time a comment pops up, we're just seeing Ezra peeking over like Kilroy.
Yeah.
All right. So we all, and by the way, how I think I picked this up on DVD at like a Goodwill, and I was like, what the heck is it? Intriguing cover. I always pick up things that are just bonkers. You guys know me.
Yeah.
If it's bonkers and weird, I pick it up. I was like, this is intriguing. And of course I ripped it and put it on my Plex. And I'm going to start the discussions, or I guess the highs and lows discussion here with one of the big highs for me was watching this movie. And luckily for me, I had not read the back of the box. I hadn't read the description I just went into it absolutely cold. And I was, spoiler alert, unfortunately, those of you who are watching this are going to get all the spoilers. So you won't get that experience that I did unless you stop here and then go watch it. I didn't realize there was like a cyborg, like a robot involved at all. So I got a good 20 minutes into this thing, and I was like, I thought it was just dumb. Like when the dude jumped out the window and like landed on his feet and kind of does himself. I was like, well, I don't care how much spy training you have. You can't do that. That's dumb. But it was
their first fight. The first time that like Robert Conrad and him fought. And I was like, man, that guy is hitting him like he's a robot or something. He is really strong.
You didn't know either?
No, I had no idea.
It was the best way to watch this movie.
They took quite a while to get to the fact that, he's a robot.
Yeah. And when I'm watching it like cold, much like Ezra, I guess I was like, what?
I mean, it was that first fight. I started to be like, this guy can't be a human. This is not normal.
I was like, this is bonkers, stupid, and I love it. And then they revealed that the guy plays a robot. All right. And Chris, I gotta ask you, we're gonna go around, we're gonna talk about highs and lows. I swear we are. But I have to clear the decks on this one. I know you look up trivias and stuff.
Yep.
My favorite bit of trivia is who played the robot. And you know where I'm going
with
this?
No. That was my high. Don't give it away.
I know where you're.
So you both know where you've seen it before.
That was my high. Was being like, isn't that?
Okay, Ezra's the guest. We'll let him have it. All right. Ezra,
my high was not just him, but seeing a couple of also the female lead, and I can't remember her name, but she was also
Mary.
She was also Mrs. Jack Chester from Summer Rental with John Candy. And so seeing her and being like, hey, I've never seen her in anything else. And but seeing that the robot had eventually would steal the Cross of Coronado at the beginning of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade was just a huge high for me. I was like, that's amazing. I didn't know he had another career.
I know, right? So for those of you in the listening audience, the dude who plays the robot as an actor named Richard Young. And that's not a name that rings a lot, but if you've seen Last Crusade, you remember when young Indiana Jones was trying to get the Cross of Coronado from the leader of the guys, the guy that literally gives Indy his hat.
Yep.
That is Richard Young, the same actor. And it was funny because when I was watching this cold, I was like, this guy looks familiar. He looks familiar. So I finally pulled up on IMDb, clicked on it, and my mind just much like Ezra's did, and Chris probably too.
And also Jonathan Banks on that. Jonathan Banks on that list.
Jonathan Banks.
The other characters. Like he had aged a lot since Beverly Hills Cop. Just
you need a bad guy in the 80s.
In those couple years,
where I recognize him from. Thank you. I was trying to figure that out.
And also, like later in life, Breaking Bad. He's Mike in Breaking Bad. So.
Well, Karen Austin, Mary, her friend Grace, who the robot goes after, thinking it was her. She is also in a John Candy movie. She was John Candy's wife in Summer Rental. Or right, no, I'm sorry. Karen Austin was in Summer Rental. Mary's friend Grace was John Candy's wife in The Great Outdoors.
Oh my God!
Wow.
See, I knew Chris would bring that. All right, so that's Nancy Linehan, who got basically. Did she get killed or did she make it out?
I got the impression she got killed.
Maybe
because she never shows up.
Yeah, she was in the wrong place at the wrong time. We know that much. Oh man, and I gotta tell you that I might be stealing somebody's high here, but I gotta tell you, I loved that when Robert Conrad, aka Henry Stanton, if this is the first that he goes over to her house, I think it was at her house, and he's looking around, he's wearing his Bill Huxtable sweater.
Yes, yes.
And he's like, I've checked every room except that locked door. And
right.
Dude busts out like the Kool-Aid man. The second he said that, I was dying. I was dying laughing. It was so good. It was so good. Oh man, that's definitely one of my highs. But I don't want to take anybody else's high. So we'll go back to Ezra, and then we'll let Chris talk for a minute. Ezra, what else you got on your list? Thanks, man.
For highs
or low, you can go low if you want.
I mean, I don't know if we're separating the show, and as far as
now this show doesn't have a real format.
Freewheeling.
This is totally
if I was
freeform.
Well, one, you were talking about that the wife was John Candy's wife, and the friend, but there was also the woman that he hooked up with, the robot. Hooked up with and spent the night. I could have sworn that was Linda Hamilton. Like I had to look it up like 3 times, just thinking that I had looked the wrong person up somehow.
She had Hamilton-like qualities.
Yeah,
that. Yeah, now that you mention it, yeah, she does kind of look like Linda Hamilton, but it's like, it's not. Least, yeah. And that entire scene where she is absolutely desperate to pick up a man, and it's that entire interaction with her,
and he is a fully functional
hilarious.
Cyborg.
yes.
As Data would say, I am fully functional.
Yeah, so that was an interesting part of the film, that she basically falls in love with this cyborg, or at least in love with him. So yeah, what did she say? Something like, "You certainly have the stamina,
remarkable stamina."
Yeah,
remarkable stamina,
like a love machine.
Yeah.
Well, and then she makes the quip about, he's like, all the men I meet these days they're like plastic.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
It was like, well, you didn't look too closely at his abs. I don't
don't touch his abs. They're very sensitive.
That might be one of my 2 lows. Like the first low would just be kind of the first 30 minutes to me, or until that first fight, really, until Conrad and Bob actually are on screen together. It was just a little bit, I don't know if it was slow, but maybe the dialogue wasn't quite as good. It just, after that, I enjoyed the movie a lot more.
It definitely,
but that first 20 or 30 minutes was rough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that was a low for me too. It's and it seems to drag on a lot. I mean, I wasn't checking my phone, but I was looking at my watch, or hitting the up arrow on Tubi. It's like, how much longer has this thing got? Come on.
I was looking for a go to commercial break, because you could tell where the commercials were.
Yeah.
Yes.
I did like sort of the little teaser at the beginning where they show him kind of going rogue in the office. Because I was like, oh, that is kind of cool. Like this super spy, didn't know he was a robot. This super spy went rogue, and so that got me. That carried. I didn't get as bored as you guys did, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. It carried me through enough. But you're right. Everything between there and then when the hunt truly begins, it's very stereotypical. It's the, hey, we need you out of retirement, buddy. I can't do it. And, the usuals. So there is that for sure. Chris, what you got, man? What's on your notes? Or Ezra stealing?
Oh, no. I think we've gone through them as far as trivia. Background with the characters. We've hit it all. I didn't find a whole lot of trivia to it. But yeah, I did like this one. This one was good for a made for TV movie. It's good. It definitely screams made for TV Terminator. I also found it kind of funny that when they come to recruit Robert Conrad, he's at his house in the mountains and a chopper comes in, and I'm thinking, this is almost like the opening to Commando.
Commando, yes.
And Commando came out the next year. I did look it up.
That's right. Yeah. Well, no, see, Commando. This was 86. I think it came out the same year.
Okay, I could have swore when I looked it up it said 87.
I actually want to say Commando might have been 85. I'm finding out as we speak. Commando was 85. So this was the previous
85.
Year.
Okay. All right. So I might
so
already.
Maybe there wasn't a Commando influence on this one. You never know. So, Chris, what did you think of Conrad and the robot, which was I think his name was Robert. Robot
Yeah,
was very clever.
Robert Gollum.
Robert Gollum. It's not a terribly unclever name for a robot. What did you think about the two of them as your leads in? And did you have one that was a favorite? And I'll pass that to Ezra when you're done.
I much preferred Richard Young over Robert Conrad. I think Robert Conrad was a bit miscast in this. They should have, in my opinion, gone with somebody younger for it, and that probably would have then amped up the action a bit too. If I got to pick one, I'm going with Richard Young. I'm going with Gollum.
I'm not gonna lie, and I'll spoil my vote as well. I thought he was kind of the surprise enjoyment of the film for me too. But let's see what Ezra has to say.
Yeah, I have to agree. I'm going with Bob the robot. I really enjoyed him. I looked at my notes, and this was 86, right?
Yes.
Is that what,
yes.
So yeah, it was between 1980 and 1986. He made 10 made-for-TV movies. So this was like right on the tail end of making all those made-for-TV movies. I think he ended up making like one or two more, but I guess by this point, yeah, Robert Conrad was kind of getting a little bit old and a little bit tired. He was Moonraker aged or even older. He was a View to Kill age by the time he was making this one. So he was slowing down. But yeah, Bob was a lot of fun. I also really loved when we had seen Bob's shirt. We would see him with his shirt off, and he didn't have a dad bod, but he wasn't like fully ripped. And then when he went to the panel, went to slide up so he could do some work inside of himself, it showed all of a sudden he had a six-pack. Like it was like a plastic panel six-pack that slid up, and I was like, that's not the same guy.
I think I did the math correctly, and Robert Conrad was 51 when he made this.
Okay.
But you mentioned that
I'll be pretty tired in a few years. So.
I already am. I'm about to be 49. I don't know if you know that, Ezra. I'm about to be 49.
That's weird.
He was 51.
Maybe around the same time I will be.
He looks a lot older than I do, and I'm 51.
Back in the day, people just looked older.
Yeah.
But you did mention the ab, like that was the whole like that's his weak area, right? Is the ab.
Yeah.
And I thought it was kind of cool and clever that Robert Gollum, the robot, like his first order of business was like, I need to reinforce this weak spot.
Yeah.
He figured it out. Yeah.
Yeah. He like does his self-surgery, and I'm like, for a basic movie, the story. And yeah, it's kind of a Terminator thing minus the time travel.
Mm-hmm.
And the story is relatively clever for what it is, I thought.
Oh, yeah. You'll get no argument from me there. I did find it funny, though, when he went to, reinforce his stomach with the bulletproof plate. I'm thinking, I want to know what that plate's made out of, because it's like barely an 1/8 inch thick.
It's
that's not
the
stopping
same
a
things
9mm
that John Wick suit is made out of.
Oh, yeah, there we go. He's ahead of his time.
I actually watched this movie, rewatched it with the other Longbox Crusade members, Jason the Weasel Skull and Pat DJ Christados, while we were at Heroes Con at Delvin's place. I don't think Delvin was with us. Yeah, he'd gone out for the evening, but we were watching it at his place. And both of them, when it was over, I was like, so what do you think? They're both like, yeah, that movie was pretty good. Like they were entertained through the whole thing. The other thing I wanted to talk about was Chekhov's bunker. They show you the bunker early in the movie, and I'm like, and we all knew it was going to come into play, right? Mm-hmm. But I didn't know exactly how. So I thought that was more specifically, how awesome was it that the robot did an absolute freak out before?
The robot freak out in the bunker cracked me up. He starts spinning around
like Wonder Woman.
It's like what's going on right now? That was definitely the slide whistle moment for me of the movie. Like where it's just like
it's just goofy. It's just goofy enough.
Yeah.
Oh man. And that's listeners of the show and any of the Longbox shows, you know that Jarrod likes a bit of goofy. So I kind of liked it.
Oh yeah. That one capped it off for me. All the other random goofy comedy stuff that they threw in there, and then all of a sudden, like, wait, his self-destruct mode is he spins around and blows up. Like, wait,
he got confused.
I was confused.
He's got confused. So, okay, that's a great segue into, again, this movie is a 4.8 on IMDb. So I guess Freak Out Robot might have turned some people off to it. What kind of lows did you have, or what do you think might turn people off to it? I'm just going to toss out the obvious one. I think people just say, those people who have seen it say, oh, it's low rent Terminator, which it kind of is. But, and I know I don't need to play defense lawyer for it because I'm going to give it a score, but I will say that it was, maybe you want to watch a Terminator-ish movie, but you want to have a little more fun. Is that sort of a lighthearted, more fun version-ish? That's my defense.
I would go with that.
Yeah, but you know what though? And I know I'm just running at the mouth this, but this show has no format. If I caught this on TV in '86, I would have been very pleased. I would have like, this was definitely a fun evening.
It's 86, I mean,
it was fun. Yeah.
But anyway, I was going to let you guys talk about what you thought, might drag the score down, or things maybe you didn't like, and we can start with those. Right? You got any made me sads on your list of things?
Yeah, I mean, some of the dialogue was pretty cheesy, but again, it's made for TV. I get it after watching it, and I think all of that really improves after the first 25 minutes or so of the movie. I think it is considerably better. I think that would be kind of a drag as far as if getting people into it is maybe that beginning. If you're just, if you're turning it on and you're saying, I'm going to watch this movie from 1986, it might not fully grab you and you might give up on it. But if you stay for the whole thing, I think it's going to get a lot better. And the only other thing is I had to keep reminding myself it was a TV movie, because they would, the action, a lot of it would kind of stop. Someone was going to die, it would stop right before the person was, they couldn't show all of the real violent parts of the action. And so, I mean, if you're expecting that, if you can set yourself up knowing that it's going to be a made for TV style thing, and, I think that'll help you out. Maybe you'd be more entertained.
I think that's an excellent point, Ezra. I think if you roll into this, if you're listening to our show and you're one of these weird people that, God bless you, we love you, that watch the things that we talk about on the show, I think if you roll into it with like a bag of microwave popcorn and a nice cold soda and just mindset yourself, go back in your mind, say, it's 1986. I've just flipped through the channels and I've caught this on whatever channel it aired on. I think you will enjoy it, but you have to have that going in. I think it's a good point, Ezra. Chris, what made you sad?
Pacing. I like you guys have said that you got that first 20 minutes and then it kind of amps up a little bit, but then you're kind of on a roller coaster with this one. The first 20 minutes kind of drags, and then you got a little bit of action, and then it drops again, and then it picks up at the very end when they're all at the is it the senator's compound or the guy that runs the agency? They're at his little house / compound trying to keep Gollum from killing him. That's where it gets good, but it feels like it takes a while to get there. And as Ezra said, some of that dialogue, it's not great, but it did make me laugh.
Yeah, so that lighthearted.
Carry me. Yeah, that kind of helped carry me through the pacing issues that I think this suffered from.
Yeah, I won't lie and say when I did watch this with the LBC fellas at Delvin's house, there was definitely some laughter at some of the silliness and cheesiness. But I think that for guys like us, I think that enhances things. We don't get too mad about that. We chuckle and we text each other. Did you see what he did? Yeah, it's funny,
Yes.
I mean, one of my things I got to point out, it's been on the screen for those of you who are watching. It doesn't help you podcast listeners for the version that comes out later, but for those of you watching, this poster's this isn't it's made for TV movies. So they didn't really have a poster so much as they didn't add. This, I think, is the design for the DVD cover. And I think it's hilarious because both our leads here look completely disinterested in what's going on. Like they couldn't pick a more emotive picture. Especially, she looks darn right angry that she's here. Robert Conrad just looks like, this is my 10th movie in 6 years, man. I gotta get that page. Not the best image that they selected for the thing.
After when I was going to look things up, and I went to, I think it was on IMDb or one of the sites that I went to. Maybe it was my Plex image poster. It was a cyborg. on the poster. It wasn't this one that we're seeing. It was just a full on cyborg, and I was like, good thing I didn't see that until after I had started after I watched it.
Yeah, you're right. I did see that when I was looking up some stuff. I'm like, well, this poster is a heck of a lot cooler than the one we've got here.
I am, for our viewing audience, I am going to get that poster on the screen momentarily.
I'm sitting here looking through my notes, and I'm looking through my notes here, and I was talking about the pacing issues, and I think overall, I mean, the story was good, and I did like the twist about and they didn't highlight this twist until you're like halfway through it. Dewberry, the guy that made the robot, he died. I think he said he hung himself. He committed suicide.
I think so. Yeah,
but he had a beef with a lot of elected officials and a few other people, and he basically reprogrammed Gollum to carry out his hit list.
Yes.
And I thought, oh, that's why he's going around and trying to off all these people. It wasn't just because at first you think it's just some random thing, but no, it's not. There's a reason behind it.
Yeah, yeah. And then when he couldn't, there was some reason because he was hunting her. He was hunting the girl on the cover.
He was hunting Mary, and then
somehow the priority changed.
Yes, apparently after 48 hours, your priorities change, and I'm thinking, it's not a really good assassin robot if after 48 hours you decide to say, screw it, I quit. Or go on to the next one.
I get it. So what basically they're saying is, you're spending too much time on this. When we come back to it later, I guess that was the thing.
I guess they didn't really make that clear that he would come back to her, because I think he said when they're at the end, he says, yes, I'm sorry I missed you, when I was at your apartment, but after 48 hours, you were no longer my priority.
All right, I found a poster.
That's a new one for me.
That's a new one?
That's
okay.
A new one. That's a new one for me.
I do like VHS box art. I'm sorry for those of you on the podcast version. I think it's the VHS box art, which is like complete and total lies. I like the gun he's holding. I don't remember that gun in the movie.
It's like a gun from the Predator or something. I don't know.
Oh, geez, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very 80s. The VHS box art is kind of stellar. I'm not going to lie. I do love it. But
got a little bit of Airwolf in there, a little bit of
the grid. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think I actually just found the one you guys were talking about. Let's see here.
And it even says terminate with extreme prejudice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Even using the word terminate on it.
How about this? This is the one that you found?
That's the
one. That's the one.
All right. This might have been like how they advertised it in newspapers or magazines or whatever. And it is a glorious, it looks like NES box art. Again, for you guys who are listening, you're just going to have to Google your own Assassin 1986 posters.
I mean, it looks like the Terminator with no skin on it.
Mm-hmm.
Then they've just stuck the word assassin and had him holding a gun.
Right. And it's just a drawing. It's a good drawing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not a photo cover. It's more of a drawing or painting. And it's very Nintendo box art. Yeah. And Ezra described it very well. It looks like the Terminator from 84 with no skin or very little skin and a pistol. But it looks like an awesome Nintendo game I would totally play.
Yeah.
All right. Other thoughts before we get into scorings and rack and stacks? Chris, you got that look about you like you have.
I'm just looking through my notes here. I got the split screen here, so I'm looking at my notes since I'm working with just the laptop. I'm just looking at my notes, see if there's anything. Here is one thing. There are two things. That when he offed the author, I'm thinking, you're not a very good assassin if you just wait in line to get your book signed at a bookstore. You just pull out the pistol and shoot him.
Well, I mean,
maybe he's desperate at that point, I guess.
It worked. And the thought I had was the lady who was in line before him, the value of that one's got to be pretty high, right?
Oh,
the last signed copy before he got shot.
You know it. And then when Gollum, when he was hanging on to the back of the senator's car.
Yes.
Like, really? You were able to fit under that car, and the chase car behind the senator didn't see you? Like, how does this work?
He's a professional, man.
He's been doing it for years.
Any final shots from you, Ezra?
Yeah, they got to I guess the final sequence was supposed to be Santa Fe, like where it was like they were like outside, like it looked all, kind of like a park or the country. And I've been to Santa Fe, and my thought was, this looks more like Santa Clay-Hatchie. It does not look like Santa Fe, New Mexico. It looks like, Southern Alabama. I was like, I don't know. This is not New Mexico, but wherever it is, it looks very peaceful.
It did look peaceful, and I guess they needed the trees and stuff, because remember they set up the sting, right? They had all the guys hidden around.
Yeah,
that plan was totally going to work, right?
Well, it really works, especially when your guards fall asleep at the wheel there, man. And those guys were dozing hard in that wagon.
Yeah, Robert killed a couple of dudes. Not Robert Conrad, but Robert anyway. So it gets confusing. So yeah, folks at home, 1986's Assassin has a 4.8 on IMDb. We're going to find out what the fellas here would score it. Are we going to move it up or down or leave it where it is? And then, of course, we will kick off season 2 by I will bring in my rankings. Normally, I would bring in sort of the Rotten Tomatoes reviews for us to agree or disagree with. And I get those, as we've talked about before, as Ezra knows. Plex gives those to you on that screen. But they didn't have any for this. The more obscure the movie is, the more often this happens. They didn't really have any. I did go to IMDb. And to be honest with you, the most common complaint is it's quote unquote bargain basement Terminator. It's made for TV Terminator. And we already talked about that. So that's that for that. But let's find out how the guys would score it. It currently sits at a 4.8. And Ezra is our special guest. We're going to let him score it how he thinks it should be scored and tell those people at IMDb get their stuff squared away, unless he also thinks it should be a 4.
At the beginning of the movie, I was really thinking I was going to be going to a 4 and saying that this is going to be worse than IMDb. And then as it got progressed, and I got a lot of nostalgia from seeing those actors that I had seen in a lot of other things and everything, and that started making me enjoy it more. And then the story got better, and I really started to enjoy it. And I feel like on some of the shows, you say like, is a 6 a good made-for-TV movie?
Sure, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
That's what you usually say?
On Action Film Face-Off, we say if we give it a 5, that's a decent made-for-TV movie. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, going up from there. Yeah, but yeah,
I would go with a 6. Yeah, it's definitely a made-for-TV movie, so I don't think I can go much higher than that. But it's a good, entertaining made-for-TV movie. Definitely above a 5.
I agree. I haven't decided what I'm gonna score yet. I gotta find out what Chris has done. Chris is the grumpiest of us all usually. So let's see what Chris did.
Maybe he loves robots.
No, who knows? I'm right there with Ezra. I'm putting this at a solid 6. It definitely doesn't deserve to go lower. In fact, I'm surprised it's not rated a little bit higher, because this is a little bit above average for your made for TV movie. So I'm putting it at a solid 6.
And you guys know I am the most generous of us all, so I'm giving it a 9 point. No, I'm just kidding. I was really feeling a between 6 and 7, depending on how much of a good mood I am. So this is a show where we can use decimals. So yeah, I'll be the highlight guy and give it a 6.5. I think you guys said it well. I think yes, it's made for TV. Is it the better end of made for TV? Yes, especially if you just want to kick back and be, like I said, and just put yourself in the brain. It's 1986. It's a quiet evening at home. I just caught this as I was flipping channels. I think you would enjoy it, unless you caught it in that weird 20 minutes. You might flip from there, but if you get out from there, you're gonna be just fine. I want to say hi to Courtney Holland, who stopped by to say hello in the chat. She said hello to all of us, Jarrod, Chris, and Ezra. Thank you for stopping by, Courtney. Matt, I think, is still banned from. I banned him with the censored guest. I'm just kidding, Matt. Just because you gave me one suggestion for the show once that I couldn't make through the movie doesn't mean you're banned for life. So there you have it, folks. We're all at 6s. I went a little higher because I like this bonkers stuff a little more. I think you might enjoy it if all the things we talked about are up your alley. You want to see Robert Conrad doing an 80s movie that's got a kind of a cool robot. And I did like, and we kind of touched on this, sort of the quasi love story with the girl. Like, we spent a fair amount of time with Robert the robot. And I think that's kind of neat because it gives him a little more depth. It's like, think of T2. Like we saw the T1000 when he was T1000. But here we get to see like Robert is almost carving out a little life for himself in a small way. It's kind of interesting.
He and that lady were ready to plan a future.
They were.
Well, I don't know about him. She definitely was.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but also, I mean, so were Karen Austin and Robert Conrad by the end. It was like, you guys have known each other for 2 days, and you're
Isn't it weird?
You're like making a 5-year plan.
They didn't like each other when they first met. How bizarre!
It's very 3 Days of the Condor kind of a situation where they just
Well, I think at some point, I think they knew each other previously and had maybe dated or
Oh, you think they were
something along those lines. I think there was a previous relationship between the two of them.
Oh, I didn't catch that at all.
I must have
maybe
missed
I'm
that
imagining
line.
things, but I could have sworn.
I was
there
probably
was something
busy
in there
looking up
about
if
it.
that was Linda Hamilton or not.
So yeah, if you need a Robert Conrad 80s killer robot film that features not one but two John Candy wives from other movies, this is the movie for you.
This is it.
Our friend Matt in the chat says that he maintains that his main suggestion for this show is Eliminators, and it is on the official list, Matt. No joke. I keep an official list of movies, and it is on.
I've never heard of that.
Oh, it is something.
You've both already seen it.
It's something. Yeah, I've seen it.
It's something.
All right.
It's something. Yeah, it's one of those movies with enough bonkers in it where it's automatically a 6 from me. We'll see if I can get it any higher, but like its bonkersness rating is pretty high. All right, speaking of Jarrod's ratings, it's a new season. So we have a blank ratings sheet for this season, with the exception of we took the champion from last season, which was Jaws 3, and it is currently in the number 1 spot. I will now reveal to our listening and viewing audiences, did Assassin dethrone Jaws 3? I will reveal it now. It did not. I currently have it in the number 2 spot of 2 for season 2 of Best Under 5. But I will say this. I thought about it. I gave it some serious thought. I was like, this movie's pretty I don't remember what I gave Jaws when we scored it. I bet it was a 7 or higher, though.
I think you gave it a 7.5.
That sounds like me. Yeah. I just something about Jaws 3 just it feels good every time I watch it.
I think we watched that. I think you watched that at my house.
I watched it at Ezra's house. That's right.
We had a lot of fun watching it.
We did.
It's a fun movie. It's not a well-made movie. Yeah, it's a fun movie.
Yes. Even the first time I showed it to my son, he was having a blast watching that. I think, let's see, 16. I think I showed it to him when he was 13, and he was having an absolute blast watching Jaws 3 because when I started telling him about it.
And, I actually saw Jaws. Great. I actually saw it in the theater, and it was 3D. It was like the only. It was, I think, one of 2 movies I saw in 3D as a kid. You know, it was like the red-blue 3D glasses, though. But at the end, when it explodes and the teeth come out of the screen, it's like you're like crawling up the back of your seat because you've never seen anything like it. But
I did say something to Adrian about Jaws 3. It's like I didn't get to see this in 3D, but I would love to.
Yeah, I forgot that I'd watched that in preparation for the show at Ezra's house. I want to say I drove up to Birmingham because they were showing Purple Rain on the big screen.
Yeah, we went to see Purple Rain.
And then after that, we were like, what do you want to watch after Purple Rain? We're like, the next logical step.
Yeah.
Jaws 3. You watch Purple Rain, you watch Jaws 3.
Why would you not do it in that order?
I think how it went is Ezra very kindly was like, "Hey, you want to watch anything?" And I was like, "Well, I need to watch this for an upcoming show." He's like, "Well, let's put it on," And yeah. So
I happen to have it because I enjoy watching it every day.
Yeah. But I do feel like I know we talked a lot about Jaws 3 on this Assassin 86 episode, but I do feel like there's I had to think about it because I think there's a commonality there, and that neither one of them are great cinematic achievements, but they're fun. They're just it's a great way to waste some time.
That's kind of the key to what these low-rated movies to me. Like, even if it's not, it might not be the best, the most well-made movie, but can you have some fun while you're watching it?
Yes, fun.
Can you put all that aside and let yourself have some fun?
Yes. Well, and I think that's a lot easier to do with things like sci-fi, action, and horror, because I've tried watching some low-rated dramas, and oh god, I can't do it.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah, you're right. Action definitely lends itself to it, and horror. Yes.
Yeah, there's a genre issue there too.
That's an excellent point.
It helps when you've already had some suspension of disbelief.
Yeah.
Just because of the genre
exactly.
in and of itself. Yeah.
And it's not that I don't like dramas. I love dramas. They're not the top of my go-to list, but I like dramas. I'll watch them. I don't diss them, but man, when they're bad, they are incredibly tough to watch.
We've got some in the chat. Courtney actually remembered that I gave it a 7.5, so good for her. Courtney asks, "Would you watch The Princess Bride?" The answer from all three of us is yes, we would.
Yes,
it's a great movie, but I don't think it's under 5.
Yeah, no way, no way is it under 5. Yeah, that's.
I don't think it's got to be higher than 5 on IMDb. It's got to be.
My
anybody
fiance
that rate that lower than like 7 is nuts.
Yeah,
right?
That's insane. My fiance had never seen that until like a year or two ago, and we watched it one night, and she really enjoyed it.
It's super enjoyable. Now you got me wondering
from the millennial perspective.
IMDb has it at
my
8
son enjoys it. Yeah, okay, I'll buy that. Yeah, my son even enjoys it. And it's one of those things. A lot of people say, "Well, if you didn't grow up with it, it's not that great." I'm like, dude, my son watched it when he was 10, and he was laughing his butt off. He thinks it's great.
Well, it came out when Ezra and I were
about the age
11.
of the kid.
Yeah, we're about 11. And that's the age where you don't want to watch it. It's called A Princess Bride, and it looks girly.
Mm-hmm. It does.
And then everybody's like, you'd really like it. And you watch it, and you're like, this is incredible.
I did not see it until I was in college.
Oh, really? I saw it on VHS in the 80s.
And I was like, why have I never seen this movie?
It's great. Welcome to episode 1 of Princess Bride Talk. Courtney, you kind of got your wish anyway.
Right. Yeah, there you go.
She said she'll go back to the drawing board. Yeah, that's fun. It's one of the funny things. They'll inside baseball before we have the episode. It's one of the funny things about this show is Chris and Ezra and I, we all watch just a plethora of movies. We'll watch just about anything. And every once in a while you hit this little thing and you're like, this isn't bad at all. And now I know Chris does it already. Ezra's probably going to start doing that. We're going to rush to IMDb to go, would this qualify for an episode?
Yes, that's exactly what I do. My son is doing it now.
I do it. I do. And I get sad when it's like 5.1. I'm like, damn it.
So does my son, because he'll be like, we'll be watching something that, it's like, my wife's gone, his mom's gone, on a business trip. So we're doing our movie binge, bad movies, good movies. And he's like, oh, you got to look this up. And he's sitting there, he's looking it up on IMDb. He's like, dang it, it's a 5.5.
Exactly. I watched the movie The Naked Face, 1984, Canon Films, Roger Moore. And I'm like, this is not bad. And I'm like, I got to talk about the show. 5.5. 5.5.
My son keeps lobbying me for American Ninja 5. And he goes, how can you go wrong with Pat Morita being a ninja master disappearing in a cloud of smoke?
That's worth a 6.0 right there. Hey, there's nowhere to go but up.
Oh, and the other thing he says, he goes, it has a soundtrack that sounds like it belongs in a Super Mario game.
All right, so now we're up to a 7. I love it.
You give me Noriyuki, Pat Morita, and anything, and that's I'm there.
We're there.
Yeah.
Matt chimed in the chat, says we got to do Rotor, which I've seen a couple of times. And by the way, there's a Rotor riff tracks, which is outstanding. I've got that one as well. So if you want to watch in a very fun way, Matt, check out Rotor with riff tracks. It's amazing. But yes, it might actually be on my list, Matt. If not, I'll put it on there because it is bonkers enough for us to talk.
Yes, it is. It is very bonkers.
We have talked about a lot of stuff here in the closing.
What is Kroll rated?
You know what? Since we're already just gone far afield on this recording, I'm going to look.
I think Kroll's like a 5 or a 6.
It's a 6.1.
Yeah, that is one of my absolute favorites from my childhood.
Yeah.
Yep. And Matt's in the chat with the 6.1 as well. We got great chat, folks. All right, speaking of the chat, we better wrap it up. In the end, Assassin was a 4.8. Assassin from 1986, made for TV movie with Robert Conrad, was a 4.8 on IMDb. And Chris gave it a 6. Ezra gave it a 6. I'm the nice guy as per usual, and I love bonkers stuff, so I gave it a 6.5. But yeah, is it worth your time? Absolutely. So let's go around the room. If you want to be found on the internet, tell people where to find you. We'll start with Chris.
All right, you can find me on X at BlackBeltX21.
Ezra.
You can find me at Easy Rooster, EAZY Rooster, on pretty much any of your social media desires.
on the finer social media platforms and the sketchy ones.
Yeah.
I am at Yard Sale Artist on X, Facebook, and Instagram's all at Yard Sale Artist. Of course, this is one of the programs of the Longbox Crusade. We would love your support over there. Just go at Longbox Crusade on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, pretty much everywhere. Just check out Longbox Crusade. Give us a follow. And of course, if you're super interested, you can always join our Crusaders Club. And I believe Ezra is actually a member of that. Our Crusaders Club can be found at Patreon. Just look for Longbox Crusade. And it starts at like $1 a month. So we're not going to break anybody's bank unless, of course, your bank has $12 in it every year. Then we might. But anyways, thank you all for joining us for another Best Under 5. We look forward to continuing season 2 and finding out what the next one's going to be. We don't know yet, but we might in the near future. I might let Chris pick again. I don't know. We'll have to see. But aside from this, I've been Jarrod. This is Chris. This is Ezra. And this has been Best Under 5 for Assassin 1986. And as usual, this podcast has been rated B for bye.